You have 17 bills that you worked hard through the process before cutoff. However, one in particular stands out, House Bill 1713. Now, that's the bill that would create two tribal liaisons within the Washington State Patrol to help investigate missing and murdered Indigenous women. So what's the status of that bill, and why is this so important?
That bill had many challenges to get passed. This is the 2.0 version of the first bill, 2951, that we passed last year. That bill's exciting because Congress is running it, as well as 7+ other states. So it's been really fun to give them information to pass it in their own states. That bill deals with the Native American missing and murdered women. The fix for this bill and the action item behind this bill is this new bill, 1713, and we just passed it out of committee. So it is alive. It's survived the first cutoff, and it simply adds two tribal liaisons in Washington State Patrol's office to reach out to the tribes whenever they're missing someone and make sure we walk them through the process, make sure their loved ones are uploaded. And it also creates a protocol that the state will hand out available to all law enforcement that would make it so we're all doing the same thing when we search for a missing loved one on or off reservation.
You had another bill that came off the House floor, and it has to do with domestic violence. Tell us about that.
So that bill passed off the floor yesterday. It's moving to the Senate. It's the first time in 5 years we've had a serious discussion on domestic violence. 1 in 3 of us are affected by domestic violence, and this bill starts to fix it.
Let's talk about another problem that's growing in Washington State, animal abuse. You have a bill that would increase penalties, especially against those who use animals, and in particular dogs, for blood fighting. How serious is this issue in Central Washington?
It's not just Central Washington, it's around the U.S. and sadly across the country. And if you look at the threads on social media on pet abuse, it's heartbreaking. What we're seeing is that dogs are being taken and stolen or purchased or given for free off of Craigslist and classified ads. They take the dogs, they duct tape their mouth, they slice their side, and they use them as bait in these underground fights where they make so much money. So this bill simply makes it much more, it makes it a crime to dispose of these animals, which we've had people who had told us that they were going home from work and saw dogs in the ditch with their mouths duct taped shut and deceased. And it makes these crimes tougher so that hopefully we can get to these agencies and make sure we save animals. They don't have a voice. We have to be their voice, and they're our loved ones.
And you have another bill that passed committee. It was requested by your local sheriff. Tell us about that.
Yes, we have a sheriff in Clickitat County, and he said that when we have people take the civil service exam, we're allowed to withhold 3 people to choose from, and he wants to up that to 5 because it's difficult for us to recruit. When people leave in rural Eastern Washington especially, it's hard to get someone back on that list again, so it makes it easier for hiring.
If the folks back home want more information on these or other bills, what can they do?
Well, we'd love to hear from you, first of all, on any or all these bills or anything that's going on up here at the Capitol in Olympia. You can look at the screen on the bottom, and it'll tell you where to reach me on the website, also the phone number, and come visit.